This poem is called What Teachers Make, or Objection Overruled, or If Things Don't Work Out, You Can Always Go to Law School. He says the problem with teachers is, what's a kid going to learn from someone who decided that his best option in life was to become a teacher? He reminds the other dinner guests that it's true what they say about teachers, those who can do and those who can't teach. I decide to bite my tongue instead of his, and resist the urge to remind the other dinner guests that it's also true what they say about lawyers, because we're eating after all, and this is supposed to be polite conversation. I mean, you're a teacher, Taylor. Come on, be honest. What do you make? And I wish he hadn't done that. Asked me to be honest. Because you see, I have this little policy in my classroom about honesty and ass-kicking, which is, if you ask for it, then I have to let you have it. You want to know what I make? I make kids work harder than they ever thought they could. I can make a C+ feel like a Congressional Medal of Honor, and I can make an A- feel like a slap in the face. How dare you waste my time with anything less than your very best? I make kids sit through 40 minutes of study hall in absolute... No, you may not work in groups. No, you cannot ask me a question. Why won't I let you go to the bathroom? Because you're bored and you don't really have to go to the bathroom, do you? I make parents tremble in fear when I call home at around dinner time. Hi, this is Mr. Molly. Hope I haven't called it a bad time. I just wanted to talk to you about something that your son said today in class. To the biggest bully in the grade, he said, leave that kid alone. I still cry sometimes, don't you? And that was the noblest act of courage that I have ever seen. I make parents see their children for who they are and who they can be. You want to know what I make? I make kids wonder. I make them question. I make them criticize. I make them apologize and mean it. I make them write. And then I make them read. I make them spell. Definitely beautiful, definitely beautiful, until they will never misspell either one of those words again. I make them show all their work in math class and then hide it on their final drafts in English. I make them realize that if you've got this, then you follow this. And if somebody ever tries to judge you based on what you make, you give them this. Here, let me break it down for you so you know what I say is true. Teachers make a goddamn difference. Now what about you?
My opening thoughts after reading the title, as well as the first few lines, were, oh dear, another lecture from my mother, father, guidance counselor, adult, about how there are no jobs for people who want to be teachers and how I need to find a real job. This poem thankfully gives me a much similar reaction to these people as I do. A metaphorical, and in some cases literal, obscene hand gesture involving a certain finger. I want to make students feel the way my favorite teachers in high school made me feel, and the way this poem makes me feel now. Empowered. The line that irks the speaker, those who can, do, and those who can't, teach, is completely bogus. I can be a teacher. I want to be a teacher, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm teaching. I believe that anyone who has ever attended high school can relate to this poem and both the emotions conveyed on behalf of students as well as that as a teacher. We have all tried to be a teacher at some point in our lives. For instance, that time in first year university when you had to show your roommate how to do laundry, or that time your mom decided she was going to learn how to text, which she has still never really gotten the hang of. There is a sense of both pride and accomplishment when you watch someone you've taught master a skill, like when you finally litter box trained your cat. In some instances, you gain more from teaching them than they did from learning the skill. This is what I believe Taylor Molly is trying to convey. I also want to thank him for renewing my excitement about my career path. I can't wait to set assignments and see the progression of my students, no matter their starting level. My final thoughts? You wouldn't be able to read this response or the poem itself if you weren't for a teacher. Think about that before you criticize, and I'll see you at parent-teacher interviews in 2 years. I completely agree. I think teachers hold the power to do all those things. I don't think you can really put a price on a teacher's job. They do so many things that are priceless. They deal with kids all the time. They handle the fights, the difficulties, and all the drama that comes with teaching. That was a beautifully written spoken word, and all of his points are valid. I think you need to have a passion to teach. There are so many different things that go into teaching that people who choose it as a second choice don't have. Patience, kindness, and the creativity that you need to have to teach children. I don't believe those things can be taught to our teachers. I take it personally if people say, well, I don't know what I want to do, so I'm going to be a teacher because it's easy and I can get a job. We have so many teachers who hate their jobs and that ruin jobs opportunities for so many others who do really have the passion for it.